Welcome back, everybody. Thanks again for being with us. Ideas are emerging at the Texas Capitol during the current special session about how to prevent a tragedy like the July 4th weekend floods. New committees began talking about the response this week. But this afternoon, we're going to hear about some of those proposals put forward by our guest. State Representative Don McLaughlin is a Republican from Uvalde. Representative, thanks for being here. We appreciate you taking the time.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to visit.
I was looking at the list of bills that have already been filed for this session. You filed 3, at least so far, related to the flooding. I want to get into those in just a little bit more detail here in a moment.
Sure.
But I want to get your thoughts about the agenda itself. It's a very full plate for you and the other representatives there. So where do you think flooding and the response to it should fall in that priority list? Should it be first?
I think it'll be one of your priority bills. I mean, they've got their committee already going. They held their first committee meeting yesterday. They'll hold one next week in Kerrville to start getting some ideas, and then we'll move forward. It's something that's been needing to be addressed for a long time in Texas.
Yeah, and you are familiar with tragedy given where you are from, leading as mayor in Uvalde there. But what's your message out there, given what has happened in the Hill Country? What message would you like to send to people about the seriousness that you and other representatives are having?
Well, I mean, my heart breaks for the people of Kerr County and all the counties that were involved in this flooding, the loss of life and so forth. But I mean, it's another wake-up call for us to get better prepared, to get an understanding. Because most of these rural communities like Kerrville and so forth, we're not full-time mayors, or we're not full-time council members. We're elected, and to serve. And so one of the things that we come out is maybe the right word is not to use, but a playbook, but we develop a playbook to handle these situations going forward.
I know one of your bills that you filed is to create a guide, but I want to ask you about one other. So House Bill 124, that's one that you filed this session. It's supposed to create new rules about where kids' camps can be built within a floodplain. Did the Camp Mystic tragedy influence that proposal?
Well, I grew up on the Nueces River, the Frio River, the Sabinal River, Leona River in Uvalde, and have seen the 100-year and 500-year floods. And we learn from each time those floods come. I mean, what we need to change. And part of the deal is, if we're going to have these camps along the river, we've got to start making sure that if they're going to be close to the river, that we have an exit point and a rallying point on higher ground where we know the water's never gotten to before.
So talk about what would change if this bill should eventually become law.
If this bill would become law, I mean, like I said, we'll see what comes out of the committee, but I mean, when you build on your structures and so forth, there needs to be a setback from the river. There definitely needs to be a setback from the river, because in South Texas, what can happen and did happen they got a torrential amount of rain upriver that didn't register where they were. I mean, it was raining there, but not like it did up above there. Yeah. And we had the same thing happen in Uvalde a couple of years ago, where we had a torrential downfall in the west prong of Nueces, and we had campers at Park Chalk Bluff that got inundated with water, and we had to have helicopters coming in and rescue them and so forth. We were very fortunate there. We didn't have the loss of life like they did in Kerrville. Sure. And the water. So we've got to look at that, and we need a warning system along that deal. We need to have a warning system. West Verdell, the representative for Kerrville, has been working on it and talking about it already, but we need to have sirens on that deal. When the first one goes off, it triggers all the others downriver so that people know what's coming.
Yeah, get that heads up. I know that no committee hearing has been set just yet for the flooding-related bills that you filed, but we're already seeing some of those committees set for redistricting, including right now over at the Texas Capitol. There's 2 more hearings for that. So I want to ask you about redistricting itself. You have less than 30 days to address that on top of flooding response and many other issues. So what is your motivation to perhaps redraw congressional maps in Texas?
Well, first of all, I didn't even see the map, so I don't even know what we're talking about redistricting. I mean, so for me, I'll just look at it when it comes in and see and look at it, because I have no clue of what we're planning on doing there.
Yeah, and one other question for you, is there any pressure headed your way to perhaps redraw those maps? Because we've reported about that just a little bit with some of the other Republicans. Have you heard anything directly about supporting that?
Nobody's called me, or nobody said, hey, we want you to do this, or we want you to do that. Like I said, I'm going to look at whatever they present for me. I'm going to do what I think is best for my district, and that's how I'm going to vote. Well, and whether it's for it or against it, that'll be seen.
Okay, well, we will have to follow up with this conversation at some point down the road. You've got quite a bit of work left ahead of you, but Representative, we appreciate you coming in today and talking more about us.
Well, I appreciate the time. Thank you very much.
Thanks again.